Hello and welcome to our Brunel Student Podcast. We are the Union of Brunel Students and we are here to discuss today what's brewing at Brunel.
Today your hosts will be myself, Ellie, and
Xanthi.
we're going to talk today about the big day of graduation, what you can expect and beyond, different life decisions you have to make during this period of time. But first, let's brew some tea.
Did you know there's like 1,500 different types of tea in the world?
No, I actually didn't. What kind of tea did you get today?
So my tea today, I've got this lovely 3-berry blend. This is my tea bag from Tesco. Very cheap, very budget, but it does the job. So you don't need those Owens Browns. But yeah, what about you?
I've got a good old mint tea from the office. Just keeping very basic today. I forgot my tea bag. Okay.
Okay. What about your mug? I haven't seen that. Well, have I seen that? I feel like I've seen that mug before.
Yeah, it's from the
Ellie.
office. No. I've committed. I brought my cup today.
Okay.
But the thing is, I have 2 copies of the same mug because I love it so much. But one of them's broken, and it leaks. And I've got the one that leaks, so I had to take one from the office.
Fair enough.
But,
That's fine. Yeah, my mug has my name on it. Very handy because I thought, introduction mug, so.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Know
It's
who
like,
I
it's very
am.
green.
Thank you. Green's my favorite
Yeah.
color. Fun fact. So anyway, let's move on. Steaming.
Very nice.
Lovely. And Ellie.
Thank you so much.
Oh my god. Okay. Graduation. You're graduating this year. Congrats. That's a massive achievement. So when is your graduation?
My graduation is actually in a week time from now.
Goodness,
Exactly bang on.
That is so exciting.
So yeah, 17th of July, 3 p.m. I'll be walking on that stage shaking hands.
It's on campus, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a marquee built for it right in the quad.
Oh, perfect. So what is it exactly you are graduating in?
So I did marketing degree.
Okay. How was that?
From my blank reaction, I feel like you can tell a lot. It's like it's a degree.
Okay.
It's a degree at the end of the day. I would say beyond anything, I've more enjoyed the experiences I've had rather than the actual education part because I did manage to kind of get what I would want to get from marketing by doing a lot of jobs like here and there, like some internships or part-time jobs.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a degree at the end of the day, and it's still an achievement. I'm still proud of myself and excited about graduation either way.
That's great. So I remember because I graduated last year. There's like a graduate checklist you have to do. How is that coming along? Have you done all the bits?
Yeah, no, I've done them. If I wouldn't have done them by now, I wouldn't be here probably. But there's not that many things I needed to do, to be honest. It was just booking the gown.
Yeah.
And you need to book tickets for people who you want to come. So that's it.
All right. Okay.
I didn't book my picture because it was a little expensive, but
yeah,
I didn't know if it was worth it. And I think my friends bring a camera along as well, so we're gonna get pictures either way.
Honestly, from when I graduated, I did go and opt and get professional photo. It didn't go as planned, but we move on with that. My clothes were a bit askew and it was a bit of an awkward photo.
No.
But the best photos I actually got were the natural ones that I got like out on the quad and also like posing with like big old Brunel statue. That was one of my favorite photos I got. So honestly, yeah, I think if you don't opt for a professional photo, like it's nice if you do, that's great, you've got that, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. You can always develop your own photos. But yeah, do you have any friends, family attending anyway?
Yes, actually, it's really, really exciting because my parents will be visiting for the first time ever. Yeah. We've been kind of keeping it for a special occasion, which is obviously my graduation.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm still not entirely 100% sure how that's going to go because they don't speak English. But I also have friends coming around as well for my ceremony.
Are you you're an international student, aren't you?
Well, I count as a home student because I'm an
I
EU national and I kind of entered the country before Brexit, so
I
I count as a home student, but at heart. At heart,
At
it's
heart,
not really.
yeah. I completely understand. So do you have any plans like after graduation? Like, are you going out anywhere or?
Yeah. Well, we've planned a little dinner with my parents and my friends who are coming after graduation. We're going to go to a restaurant I work at. It's going to be very cute and wholesome. Like, I've spoken to my manager and I was like, is it okay if we bring some of our things? And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, for you, anything. So it's going to be very cute. We're actually going to have some, like, Moldovan stuff. Like, from back home. My parents are bringing it. It's going to be really fun. And then, so the issue is, I really want to host, like, one last party as a student, like a blasting one.
Yeah.
And I've already convinced my parents to kind of, because I'll have to take them on public transport everywhere. So after the whole thing, I'm going to have to go with them to their hotel, drop them, and then come back.
Yeah.
So I was like, can we just do it earlier so I can, like, have a party? And then my mother even made a cheeky comment being like, will you be able to come next day to pick us up? And I'm like, yeah, no worries. Like, no worries.
Oh, I love that.
We'll be there.
You're a well-seasoned veteran. It's fine. It's like, oh, that's great. I remember my graduation, like, afters. So, it was, I graduated, my partner graduated at the same time, and then we went for dinner with his grandparents to this Thai place in Windsor. I can't remember the name, but it was lovely. And got some really, really nice tempura, like cauliflower. Really good. But then afterwards, when the grandparents were getting tired, they went to bed. We went back to my place and we had a little gathering with friends, which was really nice. So we had a bottle of champagne that he was gifted. So we popped a bottle of champagne, had a nice little party. We were very fortunate in our student house. We had a garden, so we had a little, like, fire pit, and it was so nice. Really, really, really great memories from that day. But yeah, so post graduation now, have you thought? I know it's a horrible topic, thinking, oh my goodness, what's coming after?
Like, okay, can I just quickly ask you now then?
Yes.
Like, you haven't graduated that long ago.
No.
So how have you, like, come to life yet? Like, is it long? How long is it gonna take?
Do I feel like an adult?
Like, kind of.
The answer is no. I still feel like I'm at that post-graduation stage. Like, I still feel like it's still happening. Because when I graduated, I didn't have anything lined up, really. I had a summer job that I was going to go into because I worked festivals over summer. And I was like, okay, I've got that sorted. What's coming afterwards, where I'm living, etc. Didn't have that sorted out. I had a job lined up that I wanted to apply for, which I did eventually go through with and get the job. But so I didn't have all my stuff lined up, so that was quite an uncertain time period for me, and it was mainly like trying to work that summer job while trying to get like a full-time job. Was very, very
I bet it was a bit difficult to kind of focus on both, because you're like, well, I've got this thing, but now I need to kind of focus on a full-time position and get my head into it. It was also a bit janky because it was a good word for you. I had a CV sorted. I got that sorted. I had some help from the PDC as well to try and get my CV sorted. I highly recommend. You've got the PDC, I believe, 3 years after graduation. They're really useful. You can get people from your like course areas to review your stuff, which is great. So have you applied to any jobs? It's a work in progress. Like, I have applied for a couple. I've done my CV. I've also actually spoken to the PDC and they've overviewed my CV. I made some edits. Was really helpful. But I haven't really like landed anything yet, or haven't even actually spent enough time investing myself into. I'm just waiting for graduation to pass, and I'm like, okay, now that I'm actually not a student anymore, we can properly get into figuring life out. But
I guess you've got that thing to talk about. You've got LinkedIn to talk about, like you can update your LinkedIn profile, which is great because
Yeah.
you can be like, I just graduated.
Yeah,
I know that's something I really struggled with when I was a student, was keeping up to date with LinkedIn, because
I hate it. I actually hate it.
you go on that and people say Instagram kills the self-esteem, but I know LinkedIn is quite a big killer of it. So
I don't like it. But I feel like my first entry into this kind of profesh overview will be posting, oh, I've graduated, and then we're gonna take it from there. I'm gonna try to update it more.
So yeah, LinkedIn is just one of those platforms where everyone kind of goes off on one about their achievements, which is good for them.
Yeah.
Like, well done. I will always give kudos to whoever is on there posting about great things. But what has your experience been with LinkedIn?
Do you know, I was actually trying to explain it to my mother a couple of days ago what it is, and it was so hard. Like, she couldn't really grasp the essence of it, because it's a professional social media where you only show professional bits of your life, as you said, achievements, kind of attainment of goals, getting new positions of jobs, that sort of stuff. But I was actually browsing and I stumbled upon a completely ridiculous thing. There was this guy that just got married. He's just proposed to his fiance.
And he put it on LinkedIn.
He put it on LinkedIn, but not just that. Not just like,
Okay.
oh my God, I got engaged. No. It was like, what getting engaged has taught me and how that translates into my professional skills.
Oh no.
Oh my God. And there was like about 10 of those, like being able to close a deal, communication, and all of that stuff. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Why is this here? Why am I looking at this? Like, no.
Close that deal.
Yeah, he did. That's the point. Yeah, he was like, oh, closing the deals. And it's like, yeah, well, obviously, like self-explanatory. I don't even need to go on here about it. But
No, I love my wife. But of course.
do you keep up with your LinkedIn now?
Do I keep up with it? I'm pretty bad at keeping up with it. I post on it maybe once quarterly. I try and go on it more, but if I'm like feeling like a bit stuck in my career and I go on LinkedIn, I'm just like try and use it as a motivational tool, but sometimes it can be a bit like, oh.
I mainly, to be honest, I really should keep up with it more because that is my primary source of looking at jobs.
Yeah.
But I really should do my profile a bit more to be able to kind of progress further into it. It's really good at jobs. Really good.
I also do like LinkedIn Learn as well, because I know that's quite good for self-development as well.
It's really, yeah.
But yeah, moving on to talking about like money and stuff. I know. Obviously, graduating, you've got a whole bunch of new financial responsibilities, and there's one that I know a lot of people don't want to talk about: council tax. I know the big council tax bill. I know it caught me off guard personally. So I had graduated on July 17th of last year, actually.
Oh my God!
I know,
we're
same day.
Yeah, far. That's fun.
Crazy. But yeah, my rental lease was until the end of August. So I didn't really clock when I booked that rental thing that I was then going to have to pay council tax when I'd graduated. Yeah. I kind of just assumed, because I'm a student when I apply, it'll just last
the exemption
till the
of
end.
it.
Yeah, that was not the case. So me and my other housemate, who both graduated, got whacked with a £400 bill that we had to pay. Not a fan, and for a student that had just graduated out of a job at the time, and also the grant money stops, the loan money stops if that's like something that you get. It was something I got, so yeah, I was just like really struggling and a bit like, oh my goodness, I'm whacked with this, and then I've got to try and get deposit for a new place, like very stressful. How are you feeling about the whole council tax thing?
I got quite lucky with it in terms of the friends I used to live with. They were all a year older than me. So last year I was the only one in the house who was still a student. All of them kind of have graduated, and we had that last month, same as you. So same as you also, they were really not aware of the council tax. And I'm like easy breezy. I don't even have to think about it. I'm like, oh, this is like miles away from me. But it kind of ended up firing back at me a little bit as well, because we obviously moved from the house. We kept receiving like letters from the council being like, you're evading taxes, don't evade taxes, like we're gonna get in contact with you, like consequences will follow.
That's so scary.
It is, because obviously, I mean, I'm not even from here. And, you know, for residents who are here, the worst thing that can happen is like maybe a fine with council tax.
Yeah.
With me, it can go like way worse than that. So they ended up actually having to go to court.
Oh my goodness.
And they had to pay like a fine on top of the council tax that they needed to pay. They had to pay also a fine. It was awful and terrible. And I'm like, yeah, I will make sure I will sort that out, because I don't want to be there. Right now I live with one student and one adult. Well, not student, adult.
Don't know if you can call postgrads adults. Yeah, to be honest.
But yeah, I'll definitely ask him for advice, because I mean, he's paid council tax. He gets actually, if that's a tip. If you live with students and you're not a student anymore, you can get discount on council tax.
I think that's only though if you're like the one person that's not a student.
You think?
So I think so. I might need to check that. We'll probably comment that at the bottom. But yeah, I think you can definitely get a discount if it's just you paying.
Okay. Need to look into it.
But yeah, very, very fun. But yeah, another thing with like trying to find a place to rent after you graduate is finding a guarantor. That's a big thing, because obviously you've graduated, a lot of people don't have a job, or if they do have a job, it doesn't pay over the threshold for the place they want to rent.
Yeah.
So finding a guarantor is something that I know I struggled with. I was trying to find a parent, and I know a lot of students who especially aren't from this country trying it, because I think it has to be a UK homeowner for a lot of people.
I don't know if it's a UK homeowner. It's like they do like a massive credit score check on them, and they have to earn a certain amount. They have to be here for a while.
Yeah,
it is a complicated process. Like my uncle couldn't for some reason become my guarantor for me, and that was the only person I knew here. So yeah, it is a long process, especially with landlords and agencies being very weird about the whole, you've just graduated but you also don't have a job, so we can't really rent to you because you're in a very unreliable situation and you too financially insecure. And it's like, well, where do I start then? Like, what am I supposed to do? Is a very tricky question there, I'd say.
So also thinking now, moving house, we've obviously acquired a lot of stuff from being here for quite a few years. I know I was at Brunel for like 4 years, and then I'd acquired a whole host of stuff, and a lot of stuff I didn't even need, but it was mine and I had to do something with it. So a lot of that is like finding a place to store your stuff as well, especially if you're in between rental contracts. Like 100%. Where are you going to put your stuff? Like,
when you're a student, it's a bit easier, obviously. It's like you got a storage room. Like we used to just drop things, our stuff, in storage rooms around in the area, and then just pick it back up and unpack in a new house. But now it's like I've actually made the decision to stay a bit more here, just because I'm unsure of where to put all of my things. I don't have a house here. I don't have parents who live here, and paying for a storage room for longer than a couple of months is unfeasible. So I was like, let me just stay here for a little bit and see how it goes.
I know a great experience I had with the storage unit was a lot of them do student discounts or like first time user discounts. So if you've used a storage unit before, like a certain company, shop around and just see like first time deals on other ones as well.
Maybe. But I mean, the ideal plan would be, this is an advice also for all of the students, like when you get a new contract, make sure to give yourself like an overlapping week, so then you can move everything without any stress. Because I've had time periods where for a month I had this gap of I don't know where I am, and it was really stressful because getting all of the things into a place and then getting myself sorted as well. It's just, that week really will help you. You would appreciate it so much. The fact that you could just, at your pace, move your things from one place to another.
I completely agree, One thing I also had was I was in between contracts for, I think I had a whole month gap as well, and do not recommend.
No.
I was staying in like questionable living conditions, just trying to like find a place to be nearby. But eventually moved into a new place, which was good. So like finding storage solutions is obviously quite stressful, but once you move into the place, also finding out who to live with, like once you've found the place where you're going to live, finding out who to live with, etc. I know initially my plan was to live with me and a group of friends because I wasn't quite ready to not have that like housemate experience. Like I'd brought up in a big family and then moved into my freshers thing, which was, I think there was like 9 other people in my flat with me. It was ridiculous, but I mean it was worked. I never felt lonely, not really anyway. And then going on to other accommodation, I think the least amount of people I had in my student accommodation was 4 other people, which is quite a lot of people. So
but you think about it, but then it's like that's how it's always been when you're in uni. Like you're not really less than in like 4s and 5s, like when you live.
Exactly. And like even if you're not with that many people, your friends will live down the road. Everyone lives around uni. There's always student accommodation around uni. But kind of that transition from moving into my own place then, like I was still renting, but what the plans with my friends initially fell through. So I ended up just moving in with my partner, which I know, which is a big step.
Straight out of uni and moving with it. It's a lot.
So we'd been together for a while, but it was still daunting because it's like a next step in a relationship. And I was
already
like,
so much is changing in your life, and you're like, you know what? Let me take this another level up.
Yeah, let's just step this up a bit. But yeah, we moved in together. I mean, it's going really well. Like it's great.
Good.
I love living with him, but it's still just such a change because I mean, if he's out of the house, I'm all alone.
Yeah,
and being comfortable with being alone is like a lot, and it also changes your relationship a bit with the other person because you only have each other to bounce off. Like if someone leaves the dishes out, you know who it is. It's not like Sally the ghost or whatever. It's the other person. So it's just like working around and like talking through things, and but it's definitely like matured, made the relationship a bit more mature and like in a good way, not as in like boring. Like we still go out. I still very much feel young. And like I'm in a young relationship, but it's just very much like, you know, you mature and like work through your problems very differently when it's just the two of you in the house. But yeah, I found there was definitely a gap when my friends like moved away, even though they just moved to central London. Like there was definitely like a gap.
It doesn't matter, like, because all of my friends graduated last year. The biggest kind of truth coming crashing down on me was the fact that even if you live in the same city, it's so hard to try and meet up with your friends, especially if it's not just like a one-on-one. If you're trying to get a group together, it is really difficult because obviously everyone's got jobs, everyone's got their lives, and it's mostly the weekends that people can do. And even then, it's like after working the whole week, you don't really want to go too hard on the weekend anymore, and you just want to relax. It's like it's quite difficult, and that is a very anxious topic for me, to be honest, because I keep thinking about, I'm just in general very bad at being alone, and my whole experience in this country was always surrounded by like loads and loads and loads of people, and most of the time similar to me. So I'm like, I feel like I live a little bit in this bubble. I started with boarding school. In boarding school, it's like the most thriving environment for a teenager.
Oh, I wouldn't know, honestly.
It's like,
I can't imagine.
It's just, you live with your friends at the age of 16 with no parents.
Wow.
It's like, it's insane. So this is the note I've entered this country in. And then it was obviously uni. I mean, COVID a bit brought me down, to be honest, because obviously then it was locked down. People were not really around much. And then I was like, once the restrictions have lifted, this is when I went crazy. I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to be alone. I really don't want to go through this again. So I've surrounded myself with like the most amount of people and activities I could. And now getting out of uni, it's like, will I be able to like keep that up? I don't want to be alone. I don't really want to. But it's difficult because when you graduate, it's not as possible to live with your friends anymore, because obviously everyone wants to do different things. You don't want to like hold each other back on opportunities and things.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you get a good job, well done you could maybe rent a place of your own and not live with people you don't like.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, it's like, well, let's hope that the house share you're gonna get, the people there will be nice and kind and you're gonna get along, or at least it won't bother you too much.
Yeah. Like, I know that one thing I struggled with was keeping up with friends, because I was so used to just like kind of knocking on my roommate's door and being like, hey, let's go to the park, or hey, let's go to the pub or whatever, and just like hang out. But it's very different like when they're not living with you, because
No
then
immediate
you're
contact.
because then you're in like, you have to like go and like prearrange stuff, and everyone's so busy now. Like everyone's got like a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. Like it sounds so depressing
Working
saying
9
it.
to 5.
But kind of like making those plans, and then you only have 2 days on the weekend, and then I know I like to keep one of my days to like sort my life out, because I don't really get to do that in the week. So it's only really like one day of like proper socializing to see people if they're like out of the way. So I think it's just really important to like utilize social media and stuff to just to keep up to date with people, because I know I really value it when my friends reach out to me, and I just make sure to check in with them as well, because graduate loneliness is like a real thing. It's a
so
real thing. It's
and
really
it starts
difficult.
earlier than you realize. You're like, oh, it's gonna kick in like after. No, it kicks in months before.
Yeah,
You start kind of
when it starts dawning on you.
Yeah.
Because it is a big change in your life, and it's like definitely an adjustment that like you need to get used to.
So well, now you've had a little bit of time out of education. How did you go around sorting your life out in terms of like getting enough socialization, not feeling lonely? What did you do?
So I think one of the things I had to like kind of adapt to was I always had in my mindset that colleagues can't be friends. Like, you keep your professional and personal separate, which I still believe is like somewhat a level of truth to that. But I think it is also important to like be okay with making friends with your colleagues. Like, say if you move to like Manchester from Brunel and you're all by yourself, you've never been in that area before, it's okay to like make personal friends with colleagues. Like, if you're working with them, they're probably great people.
So you'd hope.
I hope they're great people. Just be okay with making friends with them, and also like being okay with being alone is something that is hard to adjust to. So I know that I began like new hobbies. Like I taught myself how to crochet. When I graduated. So that was a really, really fun little project for myself to keep myself occupied, and also just learning a new skill. I also learned how to swim. I didn't know how to swim, bit embarrassing, but I
better sooner than late. No, better later than never. There you go.
Yeah, like I would go in the water, I just wouldn't paddle around, and now I know how to swim, and it's like a health thing, and like helps me like exercise, etc. But also like it's something fun to do. Like it's just it's a kind of an essential skill living on an island, to be honest. And also like cycling around more. I find I cycle way more now. Like cycling to and from places with my bikes, etc. But yeah, just like keeping myself occupied, going to clubs and stuff like that. And there are like places you can reach out to. So do some research on this topic. I actually found this website that's called Hub of Hope. So I went on there and I just saw what it was about, and you can put in your postcode and basically click enter, and then it gives you a selection of different issues you may have. It's mainly about like mental health.
Okay.
But if you can put like, loneliness, tick that, and then click search, and it will come up with a bunch of resources for you. So some of them that I found out today, there's like loneliness cafes or like chit chat evenings. So you can just, you don't even need to be lonely. Like if you like a chit chat, just go ahead, like go along and like have a coffee and like talk to people, grab a drink, etc. It's just a good way to make friends or socialize, because a lot of people nowadays are also just working from home all the time. Like working from home is great, like for like work-life balance in some ways, but also you can go like a day or two without talking to someone, which can be quite lonely. So I think it is good to like get out there and make sure that you're like really socializing with people.
I definitely think it's important on being able to work on yourself, and just because obviously a lot of the times it's like, even I asked you just now the question, did you like make friends or whatever, but I think it's more important to be at peace with yourself and not panic when you don't have people around you. And I guess that's what I've been trying to work a little bit on. And I think those kind of cafes, as you said, just these little extracurricular activities that you could do on your own are really helpful, because you are already trying to get out of this little bubble that uni creates around you. And like having an on-campus kind of life can also isolate you a bit more from what is waiting for you out there after you graduate. So doing this little by little and integrating yourself within the outer community is really helpful. I've joined gym. Instead of going gym on campus, I went to gym in Uxbridge, and you know what? Never felt better. It's like there's already some regulars there, and I kind of like have met some people that I know go on the same days as me. It's like it's really cute. It's the sense of community that you get is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is obviously difficult now. It's stressful. I'm like, my mind's racing about all the million topics that we've raised here and we didn't raise here, like the house, the money, the job. It is quite overwhelming. But at the end of the day, I just think about this as an experience. And I know that every single transitional period of summer, like going into the new year of uni, was always quite stressful and overwhelming as well. But I never actually like think back to it. I just always remember like this first day in this new house that we moved into, and like the best things ever. And I know that like a couple years, give it or take, and I will not even remember being like stressing about getting a job and everything. It's just gonna be about the graduation date, my parents coming round. It's like
so exciting.
It's gonna be just the most nice and pleasant moments that I will be able to actually think back to, I'm sure.
And I mean, you've done something like this before and you survived it. Like freshers is very daunting, like moving into a new place you've never been before. I mean, most people come to uni not knowing anyone, so it's similar to that, and you guys have done it before. Like,
it's gonna be fine. Yeah, especially because I've started uni with COVID. I'm like, if I've done that, I feel like I can really pull this off. It's gonna be fine.
It takes a lot of resilience.
It's just also like looking forward to life, you know. There's a beauty in it, of some things ending, some things starting, and I'm actually genuinely, like, on a personal level, looking forward to like adulting and to see what that stage of your life looks like. So it's not all doom and gloom.
So I'm done with my tea now. How's yours doing?
Yeah, I think last sip. I'm actually gonna do that.
Now that we're done with our tea, we want to hear about yours. Comment below all about your graduation anxieties, anticipation, anything and everything about graduation. We want to hear from you, and we'll do our best to like comment back and give you guys advice if you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
for now, I guess that is it, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. See ya.